Lesson 8 is all about working with color. To get started, you should have downloaded the Lesson 8 folder from the classroom page, and let's double-click on the L8 Start Illustrator file. When you do this, notice that it may ask you to activate any missing fonts, and for now, we can simply say close and not activate those fonts. We're simply going to focus on the colors for now. Now, before we do anything, let's go up to File and do a Save As. Let's rename this document our T Packaging and put your name on it. Adobe Illustrator, save, and say OK for the options. Let's start by going over to our Properties panel and selecting the first artboard. If you can't see it, you can do Command 0 to center up and fit everything inside of your window. We want to be able to recolorize parts of this. Now, we've already done some of this before. You know, with your selection tool, you can select any object and also hold down the Shift key and select other objects like these 3 different gray leaves. Let's also hold down Shift and get this one up here too. Forgot about that one. But with all of those gray ones selected, if you go over to your Appearance portion of your panel, you can open up the swatches for their fill color, and you can change it to be whatever color we want it to be. In this case, let's do the dark green that they have. Additionally, rather than using the predefined swatches, if you wanted a custom color, you can select, let's select the black of the coffee mug, go back over to our fill color, and clicking on this little palette will open up your color mixer. Notice you get a little rainbow, and so we can select perhaps like a greenish yellow right here at the bottom, and it automatically applies that color, mixing in the CMYK values for this document. If you wanted to further refine this, you can type in a specific value. So let's say I wanted my cyan, the C, to be 21, magenta 11, the yellow value of 78, and finally a K or black value of 7. If we hit return, it'll lock in that value and give you that exact color. Now, if we wanted to save this color, at any time you can open up your existing swatches by returning back to the Swatches panel. Click on the little plus sign to make a new swatch. This will ask it to give it a name. In this case, we'll call it light green. Do make sure that global is turned on and say OK. And notice now that that color is saved down here at the very bottom. Because it's a global color, it has the little tick at the bottom right-hand corner of it. That indicates that you can change it and everything on the page will also be affected. Let's put that into practice. I'm going to select this leaf down here and let's apply that new color swatch to it. So open up our swatches and apply it to there. If I wanted to change the values of both of these without having to select them at all, so I'm going to deselect everything. I can then open up my swatches panel one more time. Double click on that color swatch to bring it up and open. Finally, make sure preview is turned on. And let's change the cyan value and bring it all the way up to 90. Notice when it does this, both of the colors are selected or changed even though both are not selected. It's a little bit too cyan for me, so let's knock it down to be about 57, and that looks much better. Let's say OK. That commits to the change, and now that entire swatch is also changed up as well. Keep in mind that this only applies to global color swatches. If I were to select this color that we originally applied, notice that it doesn't have the little tick. So if I was to double click on this and say adjust the value for the dark green on this one, we'll call it dark green. And we'll set the value for the black to be 30. So let's bring this down just a bit and lighten it up. Notice that it will apply it to here. Let's make it a global swatch, but it doesn't apply to any of the other ones that we've created. Only when we say OK, and click on those swatches, let's hold down Shift to get both of them, and then reapply that swatch, does that now become a global color for all of those. Now when I double click on it, and I bring the color back to be a lot darker, you can see how it darkens it up as well too. Let's say OK to that. Another method of selecting and changing colors is by using our color picker. Let's click on this deep red or deep blue behind the coffee mug. And your color picker can be found by double-clicking on the Fill Color swatch at the bottom of your toolbox. This color picker allows you to choose the hue, saturation, and brightness. Do make sure the H value is selected here first. We can bring our hue value up to the red family, and then you can see how we can choose the saturation and brightness of it. And you get an idea of what it's changed to based on this swatch to what it was down here. Now, if we wanted to dial in a specific CMYK value, that can be done over here. Let's dial in a 2 for the cyan, 31 for magenta, 23 for yellow, and finally keep it at 0 for black. With this done, we'll say OK. And once again, to save this up, let's click the Fill button and the plus sign down here. You can give it a name of pink, and let's make sure it's global and say OK to that. Now, in addition to all of the default swatches that are inside of your Illustrator file, there's also some other swatch libraries that you can have open. We'll navigate over to our second artboard. And to find these other swatch libraries, let's go up to our Window drop-down menu, go all the way to the bottom to Swatch Libraries. You can see there's a variety of different libraries to choose from. We're going to choose Art History, and then finally Impressionism. This will open up a new little panel here that's got some predefined and pre-made color swatch groups. Of course, to change the color of anything, you can simply select. So in this case, I chose one of the red objects. They're all grouped together. And then I chose a simple green that they can all change to. These swatches work just like the other swatches inside of your fill panel. They do tend to be a great way to harmonize things because they're all related. Let's close out this impressionism, go back over to your fill panel, and let's save that as pale green. Say OK to it, and it's a global swatch as well. Let's zoom down to the bottom of this art panel. Click on the yellow filled box. Let's go over to our fill color again. This time, let's apply our pale green, but we want to have a tint, a lighter version of this green. Going up to our color mixer, notice that we don't just have the CMYK values, we've got that value, and then we can drag this slider down to make a lighter version of it. Let's make a 40% version. With that done, it lightens up the color, and we can return back to our swatches and save this up now as a 40% pale green. We can zoom out, and let's make the top of this match the bottom. Click on the top of the gray area for this one. We'll use our eyedropper tool to click on the bottom portion of the pale green, and now they both match up. We can do Command and deselect everything. With nothing selected, let's go back over to our Properties panel and pull up the artboard number 3. Another way you can pick colors is by using our color guide. Let's click on this topmost portion to select the kind of pale red that's for the top and bottom of it. To open up your color guide, go up to Window, down to Color Guide. And this color guide is meant to give you some suggested colors based on different color harmonies. Notice that you've got the pale red selected, so that's our primary color to be selected here. Clicking on the down arrow will open up a variety of different harmony rules that would automatically work well with that color. Let's scroll up and locate the right complement color harmony. And that'll load those colors into here and give you tints and shades of those focused on below. Now let's choose one of the bright green shapes inside of this area. Notice that it becomes the focal color. To select all of the bright green shapes, go up to Select the Same Fill Color. And this will get everything that's filled in with that color. With them selected, we can now choose that base pink that we were working on from here, or you could explore different options that also colorize or harmonize with that color. I'm going to keep it that base pink. Finally, let's go to the artboard number 4. And let's colorize this based on some of the recoloring artwork options. Since we've got this entire artboard selected, we can go up to Select all of the artwork on the active artboard, and it gets everything just right here. To recolorize it, we can look at the bottom of our Properties panel and choose Recolor. This will open up our Recolor dialog box. I'm going to close out my color guide just to get it out of the way. Now this Recolor dialog box shows you all of the colors on the color wheel that are currently active in the selected artwork. You also get the prominent colors down here, and you can play around with their tint and shade right here. Now if you were to click any one of the little handles inside of here, notice that by default they all rotate around, and it automatically rotates and changes all of the artwork. You can do Command Z to undo that. If you unlink them, this will allow you to click on one of these and drag it around and just change that one color. If you double click on it, this will open up the color picker, and you can dial in exactly the color that you want to be able to recolor that. Another way to pick up colors is by using an existing artwork. I'm going to move this out of the way. The Color Theme Picker allows you to click on existing artwork and automatically pick up those colors that it feels like it would best fit for this design. This also works for vector artwork. By clicking on it, changes those. If you don't want to select the entire colors for everything, you can click and drag over a certain area, and it just picks up those colors and it neglects all of the others. Finally, to make these more saturated, look at the very bottom. This first is the brightness that you can adjust on your colors, but the second is the saturation. Clicking saturation, we can bring it over and make this much more deeply saturated. Now, if your colors look slightly different from what's in the book, that's okay. The main thing is that we're playing around with how these colors are being picked up and how you can adjust the saturation, hue, and brightness of what's already here. If you like the colors that we have, we can quickly save those by clicking on the little folder and tell it to save all of the colors. Finally, to exit out of this editor, you can simply choose another tool and click away to deselect it. Another way we can explore different color variations is by using the generative recolor. One more time, let's go back up to select all of the artwork on the active artboard. You can pull up your recolor option. We'll pull it out of the way so I can see it here. And then finally choose generative recolor at the top. This allows you to type in a specific prompt or use some existing prompts that are already made. If you want, you can play around with an existing prompt, or let's click on dark blue to give some options. Since our artwork is selected, we can click on any one of these options to automatically have it recolor inside of that area. To type in a prompt, let's do vibrant, pink, purple, neon, carnival. We'll say accept, let it generate a couple of options for that one too, and you can see that fits the theme that we were wanting to work with as well. Again, your options may be slightly different from what's in the book, but you choose the one that you like to apply to your design. Now, Illustrator does have the ability to work with a live paint mode, and doing this almost treats it as if it's a fill bucket filling in different little areas. To access this, let's go into the fifth and final artboard. And just as with the others, let's use our selection tool and double click on the little cup to go into isolation mode. We want to be able to divide up this pink background. I'm going to use my line segment tool, which is hiding underneath our rectangle tool. Let's make sure our fill and stroke colors are both set to no fill and no stroke. We're going to make some lines going across this area. Simply click and drag to draw a line about right here. Let's put another one down here. Now with everything divided up, let's hit the Escape key to go out of isolation mode. And then we can use our selection tool to click once on the coffee mug to select the artwork itself. Notice that the little lines are now added to that area, and they went far beyond the area of the just the pink rectangle. To turn on Live Paint mode, go up to Object, down to Live Paint, and choose Make. This is going to put it into a special object mode that allows us to use the paint bucket and fill options. To find the tools associated with this, let's go up to Window and put our toolbar in Advanced mode. The Live Paint Fill Bucket tool is hiding underneath your Shape Builder tool, so here's the Paint Bucket tool. With this tool, we can open up our Swatches panel and let's choose the pink color swatch. When we close it, notice that that pink color is following our cursor. That's the one that's selected. Also, we can highlight different areas and you can see how it automatically recognizes that shape. So let's click in this side area and fill this in with light pink. Let's do this area and this area down here too. The best part about this is that your contents are completely editable. If you choose the Direct Selection tool and go into Outline mode, this will allow you to see the different lines we've created. If we were to change the angle of this line and make it come down here, or perhaps bring this one at the bottom and bring it upward, when we go back into Preview mode, you can see how it automatically adjusts the live paint of that filled in area. You can adjust this on the fly and it automatically refills and redraws that artwork. That's the power of the Live Paint tool. With this finished, you can zoom all the way out by going to View, and let's view all of the artwork, fit it all in the window to see all that you've created. Now that we're finished, go up to File and save your art and upload it to the Canvas page.